Hi everyone, it's Rochelle with Losing It on Keto. In this video, I'm going to go through my progress through 11 weeks with a particular emphasis on week 11 if you've been following these videos. So today's February 13th, so let's get into it. So drum roll, I lost 4.9 pounds in the last week. So if you watched last week's and the prior videos, weeks 7, 8, 9, I had felt like I was going to have a big loss, and that didn't happen. And I guess I was just a little delayed from how I was feeling. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the near 5-pound loss. So in total, as you can see here, that puts me at just about 45 pounds lost in the 11 weeks, so exactly 44.9 pounds. And so that brings up the average weekly loss just a tick up to 4.1 from 4. So as I said, I'm thrilled with that. I'd been feeling like I was losing more than the scale was showing. And I've got some reasons why that I'm going to share with you here in a minute. But as usual, let me share with you the macro info. So you can see the day by day macros, and you'll notice a couple days I increased my calories. I increased greatly in day 3 my protein to almost doubling it. I just felt I had shared with you last week that I was going to go more frequent protein meals. But I also added some instinctive eating in last week, where what I'm finding is if I'm eating more than 2 meals a day, I'm more hungry. And so instinctively, I just fed that. And that's what these numbers reflect. And so when we come down to the bottom and you compare that to the prior 3 weeks, you can see on average the calories are around the same, but you can see I increased my protein such that if you go all the way over to the right, the percentage of protein was 65%. And like I said, I just was eating a little more instinctively last week. I'm not saying this is going to be a trend or anything with the uptick in protein, but last week, that's what I felt I needed, and that's what I did. So I'm not going to say this is a trend by any stretch of the imagination in regards to, is this week going to go this way? My plan for this week is to do, the same way I have been doing it. But with the muscle protein synthesis in mind. So I'm trying to spread out my meals a little bit more. And then as I usually show the weekly meal plan, so you're going to see a change in here from prior videos, prior progress videos, where I had been showing 2 meals. And now you see more of a 4 meal. I can't say that in fact, I'll tell you, I did not keep to, every 3 hours having these meals. So I think this is a little misleading because this doesn't reflect that I truly had 4 meals, 3 hours separated. But like I said, I was very cognizant of the muscle protein synthesis and trying to spread this out. And if you recall from prior weeks, this looks very different from that. And so yeah, so these were the adjustments I made last week. But all in all, a little bit more of an increase in protein, as well as the meals, as well as there were a few days in here where I didn't have the protein-sparing modified ice cream. So let's see. So I said I was going to get into a little bit of the changes that I made, or I should say an explanation for why I think I dropped more this week. So I've already talked about eating a little more instinctively, adding the protein, being cognizant of the muscle protein synthesis that I referenced in last week's progress video. And while I was doing that, I had shared at that time that there were a couple other aspects of this precision protein sparing modified fast as compared to the ideal protein style version that I'm doing. And I didn't share it at the time, and I said, you know, if the situation dictates, I will share that. So I think we're at that stage, which is one of the things that they do is they use a reference chart based on ideal body weight. And based on that, they use, you know, you look up your height, and that determines what your protein grams should be based on your ideal body weight. So it's a 1-for-1 when using pounds. And so for me at 5'8", it says my protein that I should consume in a day in grams is 142, where ideal protein is more around 100. So I'm not going to continue in this manner every week. I'm still going to follow the ideal protein style protocol. But as I said, I was eating a little more instinctively last week, and my body needed more protein, and I did have that 142 grams of protein in my mind. So any concerns that I had, oh, am I over consuming protein or what have you, I thought, well, this other version uses that. So I really wasn't that worried about it. And like I said, it was rather instinctive. And so I'm happy to see the results on the scale. And as I noted just a bit ago, do I plan to make this a trend? No, I plan to continue to follow the ideal protein style version of this protein sparing modified fast. But for last week, and I do attribute it to, hey, it's 11 weeks in, I needed a little bit of an adjustment for that week. So that's how I'm viewing it. I'm going to continue to monitor, and if I feel I need to do some adjustments, I will. But that's what I did last week. I think by listening to my body and doing that, my body has released some weight that it was holding, probably fluid. I also have another reason why this occurred, and I'm going to get even more insight later this week, and then I'll do a video on that and further elaborate. But back when I did the resting metabolic rate test, at the same time, I was in week 10, so I felt I was far enough along that doing blood tests, you know, was the sensible thing to do. And I'm going to do a whole video on this, like I said, but just tying that into this week's result, I did the blood test on January 27th. So you see, and there were some findings in that. So you see where that falls here. And so if you see, this is where the weight had started to stall in terms of what had happened previous. And so some of the findings in that blood test were showing that I had a B deficiency, and it was showing that I had an infection. And so I'm speaking to a doctor on Wednesday about them, but what I did, not waiting for that consultation, was I added supplementation. So I've specifically added B supplementation. I'm probably overdoing it a little bit because I've added freeze-dried beef liver as a supplement. I was taking beef organs, but apparently that didn't have enough B in it. And then I'm taking a multivitamin now that I wasn't before, that I'm sure has the B vitamins in it, as well as specific supplementation for B vitamins. So I've added 3 supplements, and like I said, I'm probably overdoing it, but I'm going to draw the conclusion that, you know, with this latest result, that making that change when I saw those results, that this is playing a role. So I'm going to share more on that in a separate video, but I did want to mention that to you, that this is, you know, the reason why I think I had the big drop this week, both in terms of listening to my body and giving it a little more protein, and then addressing what the blood test was showing in the way of the B deficiency. So that is all I have for you today. I'm thrilled with the result, and I'm halfway to my goal for this month. So I'm right on track. And well, I shouldn't say that. I should say that I've already met my goal for this month. I'm on halfway to my goal for next month. So I continue to be ahead of my goals. So that's exciting. And so yeah, so that's the week 11 result. And so that's all I have for you today. And then look for the upcoming video on the review of my blood work, as well as more recipe videos that's supporting the plan and the results that I'm getting here. Okay? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.